Moving to the fight between Green Queen and Olympian, Pamela was extremely excited about the battle. She was the strongest in the team and her power of nature had grown a lot to the point where she could cover the planet in green. She was the happiest person in the world. Though, she still wanted more. She wanted to monopolize Naruto. He was the first person in her life to capture her heart to such a degree, where she was unable to untangle herself. It was clear from his attitude that he wasn't charmed. On the other hand, she was charmed beyond reason. She wanted him to focus on her. She wanted his love and undying devotion. She didn't want to share with anyone else. But it seemed to be a bigger challenge than she had ever imagined. She had always believed that any man she chose would submit with ease. Naruto didn't submit, and Pamela didn't want to leave him even when she was forced to share. Other than training, Pamela had been thinking about ways to win his heart along with finishing up her tasks. Over the month, his attitude had become gentle towards her, but she was still not satisfied. He still didn't love her. What did she need to do? Pamela questioned and came to the conclusion of becoming the strongest and the most useful. Naruto would love her if she was on his level of power and if she was irreplaceable to him. It was a thought that most girls around Naruto came to as the young man had yet to fall in love. Naruto knew love and give feelings of adoration stronger than others, but he had never fallen in love and it was not his priority at the moment. Getting back to the fight, Pamela wanted to impress her love with her new abilities. Her foe was extremely powerful with the blessings from the Golden Fleece. Olympian was super strong with the ability to fly and teleport. He could heal and he was immune to poison. He was immune to mental manipulation, though the fleece itself led him towards madness. All these abilities made him one of the strongest heroes on Earth, and he was growing in power to where he might get tasks from Olympus and get directly blessed from the immortals. Nonetheless, the worst thing about him was the invulnerability that came from the Golden Fleece. Regardless of all the abilities, Green Queen was one of the worst opponents that anyone could fight against. Pamela directly covered the region around them with dense greenery that was full of her power, making even the smallest tree too durable for any human weapon to damage. The terrain change made it hard for Olympian to navigate and locate his foe while Pam fought him from afar. She sat on a green throne made from giant flowers and fought Olympian casually. Her way of fighting showed her capability and her desire to impress. I wonder what my love is thinking. Pamela wondered as she sat on her throne wary of Olympian's lightning ability. She hadn't forgotten that he had X-ray vision. While Pamela was taking it lightly, Olympian was captured by vines and smashed into trees. He tried to hit Pamela with his lightning strikes, but the large trees blocked all the attacks. The trees acted like large limbs and smashed him with their fists. Only his healing ability and invulnerability was keeping him safe. Olympian wasn't finished though, as he kept on looking for an opening. After experiencing the beating, Olympian finally moved at a breathtaking pace. His body was covered in lightning while the Golden Fleece was in front of him as a shield to block all attacks. Pamela saw him coming and controlled the greenery to block his approach. The plants gathered and surged like a wave towards Olympian while he was shot from the back with wooden spears. With all these moves, Pamela managed to restrain Olympian. I thought you would last longer, Olympian. You were quite disappointing. Pamela muttered as Olympian was restrained in the air while covered in vines and trees, only his head visible. He glared at Pamela and struggled against the restraints. His friends needed him, Godiva needed him. Just then he heard her screams with his enhanced hearing and his eyes went red from rage. He felt pain in the heart from hearing those painful screams. He struggled like a madman. It is futile, Pamela muttered as she increased the pressure and buried him in the green. However, Olympian pushed and pushed. He went beyond his limits and demanded power from the Golden Fleece over his limit. Lightning storm covered the region and started striking down with fury, destroying Pamela's battlefield. Olympian was freed from the chains and his eyes were completely gold. The Golden Fleece had granted his desire, but the heavy influence of the previous heroes had left the body on berserk mode where Olympian was unable to separate himself from the other personalities. However, this made him even stronger than ever and Pamela was put in a defensive state. Olympian kept on striking with lightning and even created spears of lightning that he threw towards Pam. Green Queen blocked the attacks with trees while moving around as she wasn't strong enough to fight Olympian in close combat. She tried to restrain him with wooden chains and vines, but he easily broke through them. She created wooden dragons to dogpile him, and he smashed through them. She released wooden cannonballs at him along with thousands of wooden spears, but the lightning burned everything down. He had become an unstoppable monster. But Pamela didn't panic and created a giant behemoth with her powers to compete against him. The giant made from the green fought against Olympian in close combat and kept the berserker occupied. Shadow Lord helped with the battle by restraining him and trying to sink him into a dark pool while King Croc also came to support the battle by showing Olympian with water attacks from afar. The region was mostly water, so it was the best area for him. Naruto had changed Neptune into a water planet where life was possible, and he planned to relocate some species to the region. He planned to have all the planets utilized properly, so he intended to move Atlantis to Neptune soon while making Jupiter his new base. Getting back to the fight, Olympian started to tire after being hit too many times and using too much energy. The interference from Shadow Lord and King Croc had made it easier for Pamela to win. The giant behemoth had fought like an expert fighter, and Green Queen had created a gigantic beast at the back through which she charged nature energy. The nature bomb was what put Olympian down for the count as he was sent crashing into the endless ocean of Neptune. The attack would have ended up killing him, but Naruto saved him before that happened and even healed his broken mind. Even though the battle had been won, Green Queen felt annoyed that she had needed assistance and was almost defeated. "I need to fix this disgrace," Pamela thought as she moved towards Dr. Mist. While Pam was fighting Olympian, Killer Frost and Mr. Freeze were occupied with Rising Sun. The man was extremely powerful with his solar abilities, but they managed to keep him grounded with their ice powers. Mr. Freeze had gone from a human-level fighter to a stage where he could fight superhumans, and his equipment had gone through immense upgrade to even affect creatures like the new Pamela. He never really had the interest to achieve such power. But, after coming in contact with Naruto, that had changed, and he was happy to grow for his beloved Nora. Victor had become soft like his past and had been using his free time to help people in the city. He was looking forward to meet his beloved, and he was also feeling nervous about their reunion. Getting closer to that date had made him giddy, and Naruto had made happy with his magical words, "After the battle you will reunite." With those words on his mind, Mr. Freeze had his spirit ablaze beyond anyone else on the field. On the other hand was Killer Frost. She fought calmly and looked at the assignment as her duty. She agreed with Naruto's plans and was happy to follow through with them. She didn't follow him blindly unlike some of the others and questioned his decisions. It was a beautiful cooperation as her lord didn't mind answering and made her feel important. Snow was also similar to Pamela in her love for Naruto, but she didn't have that much confidence. Frost just continued on her path and just wished to stay by his side. It would be ideal if he chose her, and she was willing to wait for that day. However, she was scared of facing the question of what she would do if he didn't choose her in the end. What would happen if he denied her companionship? That was a nightmarish thing for any of them after tasting the sweet nectar of Naruto's close companionship and adoration. To deny such a possibility, Frost was willing to dream further and adapt to her beloved. Even though she looked cold, her heart was filled with warmth for her new friends and her love. Getting back to the battle, Killer Frost made the battlefield extremely cold to counteract Rising Sun's powers and limiting his solar absorption. The enemy could fly, so Frost was skating around him by freezing the air, while Mr. Freeze was fighting from the ground and giving support with his Sub-Zero cannons, as he was not capable of direct combat with such a figure. Rising Sun avoided the ice beams with ease, but he could feel the area become colder. It was making him weaker and making it difficult to recover the energy lost. Nonetheless, he didn't believe the duo could defeat him. "Miss Frost, please desist in this futile battle. You will get hurt." Rising Sun spoke to avoid hurting Frost, as he didn't think that she was a villain. He also disliked harming females. It was quite a distasteful experience. "Thanks for the kind words, but this battle shall continue until we win. Rising Sun, surrender and follow my lord. It is better for you." Killer Frost replied in turn as she tried to freeze the area around Rising Sun. "I shall deny that proposal," Sun replied as he released a solar wave, burning the region and turning the heat up. Controlling the energy inside of him, Sun released heat beams towards Freeze and Frost. Frost dropped the ice bridge while covering Freeze in layers of ice barriers to protect him. She also released ice beams at Sun from all directions while causing a stronger ice storm to weaken him. Sun avoided the attacks while counteracting some beams. Seeing that Killer Frost was protecting Freeze, he decided to take her out first. However, that turned out to be a wrong decision, as Freeze understood that the man was above them in battle power. Freeze planted bombs on land and informed Frost. Frost was fighting in the sky with Sun and losing ground as the heat surpassed the freezing powers. Fully charging an attack, Frost released a massive beam that pushed Sun down and the explosion took place. The sudden explosion disturbed Sun, and the huge amount of cold energy also reduced his powers as he fell into the water. Sun tried to move out of the water fast, but King Croc, Shadow Lord and Earth King sealed his fate. Earth King controlled the earth to trap him, while the shadows and the water also tried to drown him. Freeze and Killer Frost focused their attacks on the water to keep on freezing him, making Rising Sun use up his energy reserves and lose consciousness. With that, Dr. Mist was the only opponent left, and he was the strongest being on the battlefield beside Naruto. The battle with Dr. Mist was intense and exhausting. His magic was able to counteract everything that the team threw at him, and the best they could do was stopping him from helping his team. The team wasn't the only one tired from the battle, since Dr. Mist hadn't expected it to be so fast-paced and destructive. His team had been taken out even when they had the advantage through teamwork from the other side. Usually, villains weren't good teammates and they would take the battle slowly. This time, it was his team that was defeated through teamwork while he was distracted. Mist didn't blame the Guardians that left, even though the battle might have been one if the 4 individuals stayed to fight. Mist blocked the lightning strikes, the uncountable explosions and the burning flames while teleporting to other targets. The Royal Knights had gathered and it would become extremely difficult for him to fight them. Mist attacked the weaker members while blocking attacks with his magic shields. It did consume energy to directly block those attacks, but he was able to take out the easy targets. Red Hood, Man-Bat, King Croc, Shadow Lord, Mr. Freeze, White Rabbit, Toyman, Firefly and Earth King were taken out of the battle, leaving the battle to Conan, Phoenix, Livewire, Killer Frost, and Green Queen. Phoenix was Volcana's new name to reflect her spirit as reborn and free bird. Her powers were also beyond a volcano, so she took up the name of the mythical bird of flames. She had never imagined arriving at the current point, but she was obsessed with her lord. Naruto had painted a beautiful dream and Phoenix wanted to experience it forever. He was her everything in the cruel world that had abandoned her. He redefined her soul and gave her a real life where she could enjoy and grow to new heights. Unlike the others, Phoenix didn't mind sharing him with others because it was Naruto that owned them. They could never own his heart. She was satisfied to just experience life with him, as he burned bright and spread warmth to everyone like the yellow sun. Battles had never been something she enjoyed, but seeing that Naruto liked them, Phoenix embraces the joy of battle to share in his entertainment. She had wanted to defeat Mist, but the battle showed that he was extremely powerful and alone she would have lost. Even with the help of Conan and Livewire, it was extremely dangerous. It was a good thing that the others joined. Livewire agreed with that sentiment, though she felt frustrated at being denied victory. Her hot-headedness hadn't been removed, but now it was managed, so she didn't make foolish decisions. Unlike the other girls, Livewire fully embraced the battle and was also in tune with Naruto on some points like other girls. Pamela's love for plants matched Naruto's. Phoenix's love for fashion matched Naruto's. Killer Frost's desire for knowledge matched Naruto's, and Conan matched him with her desire to bring peace to the world. However, none of that was equal to Naruto's level. Livewire matched with his desire for fun and games along with battle. She believed they were definitely made for each other. Naruto had stolen her heart with his dominating personality and with his fun side. She was amazed to learn that the serious figure even knew how to make jokes and play pranks. She was further taken when he encouraged her to enjoy battles unlike the other annoying people. He brought life to her barren existence and gave her a direction. Livewire got the love she wanted and the game she desired. Now she wanted to become Lightning Queen that owned the Emperor's heart and brighten the days of the universe with laughter. Getting back to the battle, it was going poorly even after the others joined up. Dr. Mist stopped taking a defensive stance and started attacking them with full force. Phoenix and Killer Frost were the first ones to fall to his magical blasts as he summoned powers from the dark dimensions. The Eldritch Blast sent them crashing into the water and made them unable to rise up. Mist was extremely serious as he didn't intend to lose. Conan only survived the attack because of her ability to become paper, so she avoided most of the attack. Livewire also survived for the reason as she turned into lightning while Green Queen blocked the attack with her Wood Warrior and attacked back with a Nature Blast. However, it didn't connect and Mist teleported closer to Pam before releasing another attack that took her out of battle. Seeing the ease of their defeat, Conan started gathering a strong of paper to stop him while Livewire started to charge up. Mist was impressed by their move and cancelled Conan's attack by overpowering her control of the paper, or her attack would have caused millions of explosions, taking up a lot of energy to block. Livewire had charged up into a large ball of lightning that was extremely potent and hot. Mist dealt with Conan and was almost hit by her when she blasted towards him at blinding speed. Mist teleported and Livewire almost crashed into the broken island. She redirected and zigzagged towards him but crashed into a magical shield and found herself trapped within. Mist blasted her with dark energy endlessly until Livewire lost consciousness. The battle had pushed him further than what he expected and he hadn't fought like it in a long time. Clap clap. That was a wonderful show, my friends. However, I believe it is time to end. What do you say, Dr. Mist? Do you submit? Naruto asked as all the heroes and royal knights were gathered in the sky around him, protected and healed. Only Mist remained outside, fierce and defiant. He looked at the figure above and felt the desire to step down. The battle had been challenging already without the real foe's interference. If I surrendered every time a strong enemy appeared, I wouldn't be here. I will fight till the last breath, so do your worst. Dr. Mist replied as he summoned all his powers, creating massive magical circles while summoning endless energy from the unknown. Naruto smiled as he slowly flew towards and made it all look casual as he walked through everything like it was wind. Mist attacked him with his most powerful moves, but they didn't even touch Naruto as they disappeared before coming into contact. The barrier shattered like glass with his mere presence. Resistance is futile, my friend. The Emperor is invincible. Naruto muttered in a playful tone as he captured Mist within his large hand. The head was captured but Mist still resisted. However, nothing worked as Naruto counteracted everything on the molecular level. He erased everything with his atomic destruction. Even Dr. Mist saw his body starting to vanish slowly as his molecular structure scattered, and he realized that it was futile. He could have never battled this overpowering foe. With his loss of spirit, his body returned to normal and Naruto let him go. Take a seat, Mist. It is time we discuss your team's role in the new world. Naruto spoke in an inviting tone that demanded attention and obedience while land formed under his feet. Along with the land, flowers formed and a long table formed with chairs for everyone. Everyone found themselves on the chairs and Mist was the last one to take a seat. I submit to your rule, Emperor. Thank you for going easy on us and I apologize for my rude behavior. We all felt that you were right, but I wish to confirm thoroughly. This battle has shown me that you care for all of us and don't think of us as just pawns. Once again, thank you for your work. Dr. Mist said what was on his mind before taking a seat. He had already made his decision when Naruto asked again, and that decision had been reinforced over the course of the battle. He had seen the most selfish of people work together and take care of each other. There was just ample proof that the Emperor was the right person to lead humanity unlike him. He had failed to even change people close to him while the Emperor changed people so easily. He was a person with an overpowering personality and character. He was worthy of being his leader, especially with his immense power. Mist had never imagined that the Emperor was that powerful. It was just a matter of when for the Emperor to conquer the rest of the heroes. He really followed through with what he had declared and no lie had been uttered. He was the true will of humanity and with the help of someone like Jia, it would become a reality soon. Dr. Mist's words were agreeable with the other members. All of them had accepted their defeat after the one-sided battle and seeing the way Naruto treated them afterwards. Getting healed by his energy was the best experience of their life and they wished to sleep under his protection forever. It gave them such a joy and made them feel awkward if it was done. They wanted to ask for it to continue, but it felt wrong to ask such a thing. Naruto smiled at his words and the feelings he received from everyone. I am happy that we could come to an understanding. I really don't want to force you into house arrest and waste your talents, Naruto said as he looked at the global guardian sitting on his left except for Dr. Mist who sat at the end of the table opposite of him. Hearing his words and sentiments, the guardians felt touched as the voice felt so genuine and warm. They really felt his care for them and it made it hard to think that he would do them wrong. Everything from the start continued to build a bond of trust in them and it was stronger than others as they felt connected on a spiritual realm. Unlike the villains, Naruto was respectful to the heroes and wished to win them without resorting to any harmful action. Heroes were usually headstrong, so he had to think things carefully and plan ahead for them. He couldn't make mistakes in his actions or words. He couldn't allow himself to act with haste and annoyance when they denied him. The only thing he could do was to prove them wrong and keep them grounded while he followed along the path. Naruto didn't expect everyone to follow along peacefully and maybe some of them would have to be imprisoned until the end of the conquest. All of that was within his expectation, as not everyone would see things his way and especially because everyone had a bad impression of an imperial system. Dr. Mist gave a nod of approval as he was satisfied with Naruto's way of dealing with them. He didn't act like they were nuisance and showed real respect for them even though they had been enemies just moments ago. How can we help you? Do you wish to have our assistance with negotiations with the other teams? Dr. Mist asked and presented the few things they could help with. You all can help me with many things as the world will always need heroes to protect it till the end of time. Though, our only enemies will be from the outside. But, before that we need to clean up our home. I intend to talk to the others, and your presence will be a strong support to my side. Sandstorm, you are connected to Black Adam. So, What is your opinion on our talks with him? Naruto replied while showing them a grand future where humanity controlled the whole solar system and lived happily while the fights took off planet. He showed grander versions of each of them. The visual and audio gave them an insane boost to their spirits. Sandstorm was surprised to be pointed out and thought about it. Black Adam had been a hero in the past but before being sealed away. He was a lot like Naruto except his way of dealing with people hadn't been so positive and he lacked patience. After waking up in the new era he became a villain and now he was mostly neutral, living a peaceful life. He was too prideful to serve anyone. Sandstorm really didn't want to see his savior get hurt, but looking at Naruto's approach, it might never even come to that point. Mr. Adam is too prideful to serve, though he would completely agree with your way. I believe you will need to defeat him in battle like our leader. It has to be complete victory with there never being a possibility for his triumph. I share this opinion with the belief that Mr. Emperor would not cause pointless harm to my savior. Sandstorm said in a calm tone as he looked at Naruto and gripped his hands tightly. It was not a nice experience to discuss about the beatings of your friends. Thank you for your opinion, Sandstorm. You don't have to worry about Black Adam, as I will ensure his safety. Thank you, Emperor. I look forward to working under you and making this world a better place for the future generation. Sandstorm smiled at his words and nodded. He was really happy that his country was now free from its problems and the children were going to live a wonderful life. Naruto had taken care of all the criminals and corrupt individuals while laying down the foundation to a better future. Most underdeveloped nations had the issue of corruption, which was different from the corruption done by developed nations. The strong corrupt officials took advantage of their own people and didn't even care about what happened to their country or their people. They only looked for their own advantage. They would reject even the most useful ideas if they weren't given a piece of the pie. However, most would never want to invest in such a project where they were forced to pay large sums to multiple corrupt officials. Then these leaders ended up in the pockets of leaders of developed nations who paid them large sums of money, which looked very big. But it was only big for an individual and not for a country. These leaders in return sold rights to those nations and had their country exploited to an extreme degree where the sum that was given to them looked like pocket change. The system from developed nations kept these leaders of underdeveloped and some developing nations in their hands, and utilized them according to their goals. They protected these individuals and only got rid of them when these corrupt leaders became a nuisance. To make matters worse, the lack of regulations and the corrupt system had also corrupted the people. Many of the employees in these countries would act lazy and useless if the owner wasn't watching over them. It made doing work in those countries a terrible headache, especially with the corruption. That was the difference between the corruption in a developed nation and an underdeveloped nation. Developed nations mostly exploited other nations, while underdeveloped and developing nations exploited their own people, and internal damage. Both sides weren't free, as there was just a degree of freedom and ease according to the country. The real power always remained with the system, and the citizens could never change those core decisions. That was the honest truth of the current world, since majority of the people would never support their country's disgusting acts done outside their borders. It showed clearly that the power was never in the hands of the people and the system only allowed things when it was convenient to it. Naruto made the leadership better and gave them the ability and resources to improve the countries while also helping the citizens. Naruto removed the Chaos Agents from the developed nations and their private military forces. With greenery available to fill the needs of the country, new schools and universities popped into existence while teachers became available for them. Naruto gave the educated and passionate individuals the required data of those fields to make the useful teachers. He made factories for different things available while giving ability to the citizens to run them. Naruto could make anything with his elemental manipulation after knowing its makeup. He had already analyzed closely multitudes of inventions in the New World, so it was an easy job. In these nations, the industries were hard to start because of their corrupt system. These nations had leaders that were happy with just giving interviews and taking photos with powerful forces, signing pointless contracts that went nowhere. With the current leadership, they would have made it their priority, but it would have still taken time and money. Naruto helped these countries skip years of work with the wave of his hand and put them on a fast track to catch up with the developed nations. And this wasn't even the end, as Naruto intended to make an empire. All the countries would just become different regions of a single empire, and all of them would have similar level of advancement. The only difference would be the difference in culture, languages, cuisine, and specialty. Naruto intended to make the ideal society where people could exercise their imagination and there was no need to work to survive. It would be a society that kept on improving and people worked on what they liked. The small jobs would disappear as robots would take care of them. leaving only things that people wanted to do and would love to do. The resources were unlimited for Naruto's empire since they weren't limited to Earth and could easily get what they wanted from other planets and the boundless space. Naruto's vision was grand and it had already pierced the heart of many through his interviews, cartoons and comics. Naruto had already shown them the vision and how it worked, though people were still skeptical about the reality of the dream. However, Naruto made valid points and many trusted that they would see the full picture once the conquest was finished. The vision was beautiful and ideal. However, Naruto knew that the initial years would be difficult for him and the people. Many people would lose their purpose in life since life had just become like that in the current time. And not having to work while still making people want to advance society wasn't an easy task. Nevertheless, just because it might be difficult and the result was unknown didn't mean that Naruto would compromise and go with the same old system to keep it easy. Naruto believed that the people would follow along with his vision, especially because of the existential threats from the beyond and because of the various abilities that would be available to them. Just because society was freed from work didn't mean everyone was equal. Everyone would have the chance to apply for what they desired, but they would have to prove their capabilities. They would even have the chance to become super strong if they proved their capabilities. Even in the new world, people would have ranks as some people would always stand at the top. However, everyone would have the chance to rise to the level where they could directly stand beneath Naruto if they worked hard enough and developed their abilities. That was a risk that Naruto was willing to take, and it would be a continuous encouragement for him to keep on growing in power to keep his invincibility. What about the Green Lanterns? Will they listen to my words? Ice Maiden, Crimson Fox? Naruto turned to the girls that were connected to the Green Lanterns. I think he will listen to your words. Unlike Earth heroes, Green Lanterns don't have those restrictions and kill most of their enemies. However, he has gone on a mission, so I don't know when he will come back. Ice Maiden replied positively, though it was just an opinion. Regardless, it was useful since she was close to the target. My guy is not going to be easy. He doesn't like to kill like the other heroes. But maybe he might listen. I just can't give you any assurance about his choice. However, I will try to convince him. He also understands the problems of our world, so there shouldn't be an issue with letting a good leader take charge. Crimson Fox replied while thinking of Hal, but couldn't give a conclusive answer because they weren't very close. She would have also not joined Naruto. But after the battle that had changed. Just like most people, she had aversion to the imperial system, which was something from the Dark Era. I see. We will just have to see how things play out. I will approach everyone peacefully and give them the choice. Dr. Mist agreed with that since even he couldn't assure that the other teams might listen. All of them were headstrong and fixed in their ways. It was hard to trust someone with such a responsibility and risk the world. Even he felt the resistance to such a thought and only trusted Naruto after experiencing a battle with him and seeing his nature in combat. In serious and dynamic situations, most people wouldn't be able to control their responses and show their true self. That would be for the best. It is an unfortunate task, but I am willing to partake in it. I appreciate your offer. However, take a rest for the day and visit the places that have been transformed. You will be happy with the results. We will follow that suggestion, and we shall also inform the world of our allegiance. I believe it will help in our endeavors. Dr. Mist thought it was a nice idea to visit those places and even thought about ways to help their new cause. A good idea, my advisor. Don't look so surprised, my friends. You obviously will have positions in my court. I deeply respect your knowledge and wisdom, Dr. Mist. So, I have offered you a seat as one of my advisors. I offer the same to Konan. She has experience from the war zone and has served under a powerful dictator, so she will help me avoid acting in the same manner. Before letting them leave, Naruto decided to further connect them to his goal. The offer shocked everyone, and some of them weren't happy at hearing the offer given to Konan. The girls were unhappy that they were ignored, and Konan got to become closer to Naruto when she was always around him. Pamela wanted to voice her distaste but held herself as she didn't wish to cause disrespect to Emperor. But she and the other girls sent gazes at Konan and promising to study up on useful topics to earn the place. They had never even thought about getting divided by such positions, and now they remembered that they were going to form an eternal empire. I shall gladly take the honorable charge, my lord. Dr. Mist was satisfied with the position and was further inclined towards him. It was the same for Konan, who was deeply honored by the offer that she let out some tears. She had never even thought of remaining at a top position in the new era. But she was given the chance again to clear away her shame. After the offer had been accepted, Naruto gave the heroes an upgrade according to the good they had done. The power-up was heavier than what he had given the villains at the start. The heroes weren't the only ones as the team went through another power-up after proving themselves in combat. Once that was finished, Naruto sent everyone back to their places. Victor was sent to his wife where he would have his reunion, while Naruto went with Konan as she wanted to talk to him about the Rinnegan. However, Naruto wasn't done for the day. His clones were visiting few places before anyone had the time to react. One of his clones went to meet with the Science Squad, a team consisting of the Powerpuff Girls and some other characters. The other clone went to meet up with Laura and the Young Justice. The other clone went to Atlantis, and the final clone went to Themyscira, island of the Amazonians. It was an eventful day. Before leaving for his other meetings, Naruto fulfilled his promise with Victor. The duo arrived in Antarctica, where Victor would usually have a secret base. In the supposedly uninhabited place, Victor found a small thriving town where people that could ignore temperature lived. Victor found out that while he was away, Naruto had created such a thing, and he had brought back Nora on the day they had met. To go even further, Naruto had put in good words for Victor and showed Nora the good things about him. Freeze wasn't always on the wrong side, and there were times when he was heroic. So Naruto showed those events while leaving out the criminal activities. Nora had wanted to see Victor, but Naruto had convinced her that he would meet her later as it was a dangerous time. To avoid making the girl crazy, Naruto had provided her with an ideal place to live and even given enhanced her physique, so there was no problem with the relationship. Nora did feel conflicted and lonely without Victor, but she decided to wait for him and acted cheerfully for the town. Hearing the details, Victor was very grateful, as it would have been very damaging to hear the negative things from others. And he felt really happy that his Nora was feeling happy. He couldn't wait to get back to her and started running like a young man again. His heart was filled with warmth and desire to be with his beloved. Nora, Nora. Victor cried out as he saw his beautiful flowers sitting under the tree of a park with some children. Just like always, she took his breath away. She looked so beautiful and enchanting. She was a beauty with long, silky blonde hair and blue eyes. She had an athletic figure that was hidden by her modest dress that made her look delicate. She was an adventurous girl that loved climbing icy mountains and skiing. She had been planning to work towards getting participation in the Winter Olympics when her illness started to affect her body. She started to lose the fire, and Victor could only freeze her in time. She looked the same as she did 20 years ago. That was the difference between them, as he had lived 20 years in darkness while his beloved had just woken up from a long slumber. Hearing his voice, Nora stood up immediately as she recognized her beloved's voice and smiled like the shining sun. Victor, Nora cried out as she stood up and ran towards him, and both lovers embraced tightly. They didn't want to let go. It felt like an eternity since they had met. It felt so unreal that they were afraid of letting go. "I missed you so much," Victor muttered with difficulty as he licked his dried up lips and tears fell from his eyes. He couldn't stop the tears as they represented his pain and joy. "I missed you more. I had so many nightmares while asleep, and when I woke up you weren't there. It was horrifying. I am just happy that you are finally here." Nora was also crying as she spoke fast. She was the one who spoke a lot, while Victor was the type to speak less and do more. Naruto smiled at the wonderful scene and disappeared, leaving the couple to talk and enjoy each other's company after a long time. Shifting to Konan, Naruto walked with her in silence in their new base. It was within the endless ocean of Neptune, a giant beautiful palace designed by the carpenter. It was a marvelous wonder that took the breath away. The duo walked in the gardens of the underwater palace, where they could see the ocean above them filled with aquatic life from Earth and the gardens filled with beautiful flowers. Looking at what Naruto had accomplished in such a short time, Konan felt her inadequacy highlighted. They had worked for so long but made wrong decisions by making excuses, justifying their extreme actions. On the other hand, Naruto had never once acted differently. It was clear that for his goal of being the proper emperor of mankind, Naruto was ready to put everything on the line. He didn't wait for the end of the objective to help the people, as he helped them regardless of the situation. It truly made her see the difference in their thoughts and priorities. Naruto cared for the innocent lives from core of his being while they were lost in their dark thoughts of vengeance. "My lord, I am deeply honored to work under you. I am beyond grateful of the respect I have been dealt. I am aware that I was always replaceable to your cause, but you gave me a new life. For that, I swear an oath of allegiance to you, my lord." Konan walked in silence and stopped when Naruto stopped near the fountain. She took that as an indicator and spoke her mind. Konan had submitted to his will and accepted him as her emperor. It was clear in her tone and emotions. It was a genuine oath. It was all within expectations, as he had spent time with Konan. Otherwise, there would have been a chance that Konan might have fallen deeper into the darkness. Human nature was unpredictable and sometimes people just broke under the weight of the world. I accept your oath. However, you are not replaceable. Your powers are unique, your experience is unique, and your opinion is unique. Everyone has a role in this world, big or small. We just have to find it and embrace it. Your life has prepared you for the role, and now you shall settle into it and become what you should have always done. You will be my advisor and an administrator of the new system that shall rule the universe. It is a grandiose role, but I know that you can and you will achieve my expectations. As such, never show your weakness and downplay yourself from this day forth. The darkness has fallen away and the light of hope shines bright. So act and adapt to your new role in life. Naruto spoke with a gentle tone as he placed his hand on Conan's shoulder. He was without his armor and wore his normal attire, which was extremely classy and high class according to his tastes. Hearing his words, Conan bit her lips as she went down to her knees. She had not expected such kind words. The world had been so unkind, but the emperor had always shown her kindness. He spoke such compassionate words and he acted as the guide from the darkness to light unlike the others. She took his words to heart and embraced them. She hadn't realized that her attitude was still very similar to the old days, and that was not right. Her new role needed her to change so that people would see a role model that they should follow. She needed to follow Naruto's way of doing things, where he avoided even the smallest problems and acted with the best manners. I shall comply with your wish, my lord. My lord, I have shown disrespect by testing your patience, and I am thankful for your magnanimity. Please, allow me to present the Rinnegan. I believe it shall help in your future endeavors. Conan didn't stand up and present the Rinnegan eyes stored inside a glass vial filled with some liquid for preservation. She was completely in the role and take Naruto as the emperor. She wasn't the only one and not the last one. As the empire started to shape and people follow the new norm, there is no problem in such actions. Conan, you were not aware of my capabilities, and such a questioning nature is what I desire from my advisors. So, don't forsake it for blind loyalty, as I will not appreciate such an act. Naruto replied as he took the vial and made Conan stand. I understand. Conan nodded and kept it in mind as she didn't wish to lose her new place. She observed Naruto and saw his new eyes for the first time. He had the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, the red and black eyes that gave the Uchiha clan an enormous power. She was obviously surprised as Naruto wasn't an Uchiha. The eyes awakened inside Naruto because of Kurama's change towards being the Ten Tails. Naruto and Kurama's eyes were the same, giving them a synergistic effect and improving their powers. With the right eye, Naruto could learn anything, and with the left eye he could use anything. The Sharingan eyes evolved and unlocked powers according to the person, meaning they were extremely unique. The powers Naruto unlocked were according to his desire and belief. As the emperor of mankind, he should know everything and he should know how to use it. The normal Sharingan could only copy martial arts and ninjutsu techniques by learning the signs and chakra flow. But they could never copy special skills and skills limited by genetics. However, this new power gave him the ability to copy anything in the universe, and Naruto had observed many people from the shadows to get their abilities. The eyes had also made his chakra higher quality, improved his chakra reserves, and given him a stronger control. The Rinnegan would further improve on those abilities and give additional powers. Nonetheless, thank you for this gift. I shall make great use of it and it shall help in my conquest. Though, I don't intend to put these into my sockets. They might have a negative impact on my mind and allow Madara to control me. However, I will extract the DNA and unlock my own Rinnegan. Naruto stored away the vial and informed Conan of his actions. She deserved to know, and there was no risk. Conan was not expecting such a step and was made to think again about her history after hearing such a theory. Could Nagato have been influenced by the eyes? I am happy to hear such gratitude. I hope you will always be happy and never lose your way. I will light your path and never let you get lost. However, I may be far away sometime, so call for me when you need my presence. You are important to me. Naruto smiled as he took her in his embrace and gave her a kiss. This was the first time Naruto had extended his hand in such a way for her, and she didn't resist. Over the month, Conan had also felt desire to experience his adoration. She heard a lot, and spending time with Naruto had allowed her to see him in a better light. She was attracted to him, though she was scared of saying it unlike the others. She had no romantic experience, and Yahiko, her first love, had been killed before they got any closer. What does this mean, my lord? Conan was filled with joy, but she was also confused. She wanted to know what their relation was. It means that you are mine. Does that displease you? Naruto answered as he had made the move to ensure that Conan never fell and lived happily. With him, everyone would be happy. That was his belief. Conan couldn't tell how much Naruto loved her and the other girls. His expression and words were too sweet and enchanting. But she wanted to know what that meant. I love you, my lord. Do you love me? Unlike the others, Conan wasn't afraid of asking the question and hearing the answer. Naruto smiled as he pinched her cheek and hugged her close. I love you more than anyone will ever love you. But, you mean the true love between husband and wife? Then, the answer is no. I have never loved anyone in such a manner as my priorities disallow such luxury. Nonetheless, you have my assurance that you are nothing less than my lover and wife. Yes, I intend to have children with you. Naruto could have easily tricked Conan with his words and mannerism, but he disliked such lies. He didn't wish to own someone that wasn't satisfied with the arrangement. Naruto thought it was normal for him to have multiple women. It was normal for him to marry for alliances and other political reasons. It was normal for him to marry with multiple women to produce strong children to continue his bloodline, especially because he was the last of his clan. Hearing his words, Conan wasn't really surprised. She also came from the same world and it was normal there for the leaders to have multiple wives. She just wanted to know his feelings and how far he intended to go with her. His answer made her smile brightly, as she really hadn't expected to go so far. She was excited by the thought of having children with him. I am overjoyed by your words and feelings, my lord. I shall never disappoint you in this life. Conan hugged him tightly as she was filled with happiness from the soul for the first time in her life. The light had finally gotten rid of all the darkness within her heart. I am happy by just seeing your beautiful expression. Conan, you never have to act distant with me. This relationship is not a secret, understood? Naruto picked her up and walked towards the flower field, where he laid her down and sat down with her to talk some more. It was the first time where they talked without any boundary between them. While the real Naruto was spending some time with Conan, one of his clones had gone to visit Supergirl. He had come to know her over the month through his Gilgamesh persona and believed that she would join him without a battle. In a month, Naruto had gotten close to Supergirl and learned about her without using his mind-reading ability. It was extremely hard for people to reject his friendship and he was very good at making people talk. Kara was born on Argo City to Zor-El and Allura and Z. When she was 15, her cousin Kal-El, Superman, was born. Around that time, her father distanced himself from her uncle Jor-El after Jor-El expressed his disapproval at his brother's biological experiments. Not caring for their feud, Kara kept on babysitting her baby cousin while studying for her graduation trials. A few months later, Kara accompanied her father to his lab. There, Zor-El showed her a space pod where he put her to sleep. As Kara lost consciousness, Zor-El stated Jor-El was right about Krypton being doomed, and he had built a rocket to save her. Ignoring her protestations, Zor-El placed Kara in her vessel together with the Sunstone recording his last words, and launched her into space right before Krypton's explosion. Kara's rocket reached the solar system, and per its programming, it spent 2 decades orbiting the Earth's sun as its passenger remained in stasis. After a while, Kara's pod crash-landed in Siberia. Kara stumbled from her craft only to be suddenly surrounded by gigantic armed robots that tried to subdue her. Kara instinctively fought back, displaying powers she didn't know she had when Superman showed up all of a sudden. Confused about her current situation, her strange powers, and the arrival of a stranger wearing her family's crest, Kara demanded to know who he was. When Superman identified himself as her cousin Kal-El, Kara became enraged, thinking he was an imposter, and she attacked Superman. The two exchanged blows all the way from Siberia to the Great Wall of China, where Kara realized her fight was endangering the people nearby. She stopped fighting and agreed to listen to Superman. Nonetheless, Kara refused to believe him when he told Krypton had been gone for decades. Kara flew back to Siberia, hoping her pod held some clues, but she found instead a holographic message from a man called Simon Tycho inviting her to his space station. Kara flew to the space station only to find out it was a trap designed to test her abilities. Kara destroyed Tycho's weapons and found her pod, but she was weakened by chunks of green kryptonite stuck to the hull. Kara was captured by Tycho, who intended to tear her apart in order to study her physiology. However, he was overheard by one of his employees, who broke Kara out. Kara fought her way out of Tycho's space station and retrieved the sunstone he had stolen. Unfortunately, it was too damaged to provide answers. Feeling hopeless, Kara wondered if her new powers would allow her to fly back Krypton. Kara left Earth, heading for her home world. On the way, the sunstone led her to a spatial portal which took her back to her hometown Argo City, now a deserted city protected by a bubble shield and orbiting a blue star. Exploring the ruins, Kara finally confirmed that Krypton was gone and her family and friends dead. Overwhelmed by grief and fury, she cried out and started to tear the city up. Her rampage was stopped by a mysterious woman named Rain, who claimed to be a world killer. Rain defeated Kara, pinning her to a wall and left, challenging Kara to follow her back to Earth. Despite her weakened state, Kara managed to break free and fly back to Earth to fight Rain, who was leveling New York City in the meantime. Kara engaged Rain, but the world killer revealed she had 3 partners. After a tough, exhausting battle, Kara won against all odds, beating the world killers back. Before leaving, though, Rain warned Kara that she would return one day. And there was a 5th world killer she hadn't met yet. Right after the battle, Kara met Siobhan McDougal, an Irish girl with a gift for language and music. Both girls befriended each other quickly, and Siobhan offered to help Kara, letting her stay in her apartment for a while until her Kryptonian friend was ready to face her new world. Siobhan turned out to be Silver Banshee, one of the strongest magical villains on Earth. She used to be a villain but had calmed down and started living a normal life. She sympathized with Kara and shared her story once they got closer. Centuries ago, Siobhan was born in the McDougal clan, an Irish clan where the firstborn children inherited the powers of the Silver Banshee and ascended to leadership through a mystic ritual. When her father died and she was next in line, her uncle and brother opposed her on the grounds of not wanting a woman to lead the clan. While performing the ritual without her uncle's consent, her brother interrupted the ritual, botching it and causing her to be sent to the Netherverse for centuries. Eventually, the entity known as the Crone bestowed her powers of the Silver Banshee so that she could extract her revenge on her brother and uncle while also testing her. The Banshee first appeared in Metropolis in search of an arcane book. Superman, being very gung-ho in this early part of his career, confronted her right away, believing that her touch was deadly and that his invulnerability would save him. It was not her touch, however, but rather her voice that proved to be her deadly weapon, and she nearly killed him. Superman recruited John Jones, who deduced that Banshee's power was tied to visual cueing. Superman allowed everyone to think he had died and had John assume the shape of his ghost. Convinced that she was fighting Superman's ghost, the Banshee could not harm the Martian and fled. It was not long before the Banshee returned, still looking for her prize, which was apparently a book taken from Ireland. Superman managed to trick her twice into not killing him, this time by masquerading as the Batman. Then the Banshee's brother Bevan showed up, claiming that she had committed some terrible crime against their clan. The Banshee again withdrew in a flash of light and finished with family business before settling down as a musician. Other than Silver Banshee, Kara had gotten close to the Titans and was somewhat fine with her cousin. Though, it was still very strange with him being older now and his selfless spirit for the human species. She just didn't feel home with Clark because he had never lived on Krypton and didn't seem to care about getting it back. It had been 3 years since she arrived on Earth and she had mostly moved on from her early problems. She was not the emotional child that cried for her dead parents, but she still felt lonely from time to time. Earth just never felt like home, especially with all the criminals trying to harm her and not letting her live peacefully. There was no law on her side and she was an outsider. She only stayed because the universe was an unknown place while Clark was on Earth. She was just scared of wandering space alone, knowing the dangers. However, she still imagined going out and finding her place. She envisioned going on a space journey with her friends where they could live freely. Unfortunately, her friends had no such thoughts and she was stuck in a dilemma. That feeling became less prevalent once she met Emperor and he gave her the earrings. It helped her relax and destroyed her nightmares. After that she met with Gilgamesh, the most charming male she had ever laid her eyes on. She imagined that her past self on Krypton would have been starstruck, but her current self didn't feel interested in romance. Nonetheless, he turned out to be a very good person who was easy to talk to and he made life better. Unlike her other friends that weren't always available, Gilgamesh met up with her every day and showed her different ways to have fun with their superpowers. Within a short time, Kara took him as a close friend and trusted him with her story. Though, he never told her his own story and told her to wait for some time. Kara was made curious by those words and a smile. Before arriving, Naruto had already told Kara to meet up with him and she was looking forward to hearing his story. Kara stood on the beach on an abandoned island where she watched the fishes swimming under the sea when Naruto appeared. "Emperor, why are you here?" Kara was not expecting Emperor to arrive on the random island, so she was confused and on guard. Unlike the other heroes, she didn't care about him killing criminals and was happy with what he had done. However, That didn't absolve him of being suspicious. I am here to meet you, Kara. I sent you a message before coming, so why the surprise? Naruto replied as he landed on the beach and walked closer while a barrier covered up the island. Hearing his words and seeing his armor disappear, Kara was shocked. You are the Emperor, why did you do all of this? Kara stepped back to take in the revelation and looked at him suspiciously. She just couldn't understand why he did all of it, if he was the Emperor. I am the Emperor, and isn't it obvious? Sigh, Kara, you need to remember my words and actions from both sides. I did all of it because you're a good person and a hero. I need heroes and good people, so I wish to get close to you before this day. I wish to help you overcome your dark thoughts. It is that simple. Naruto replied gently with a sincere tone to calm her down. He really didn't wish for her to break. You lied to me. You pitied me all this time. Kara cried, thinking that Naruto had only been doing it all out of pity and not genuine feelings. Sometimes emotions really made it hard to comprehend properly and even made people half listen according to their perception. It was not the first time for such illogical situations, and it was not the last time. Naruto closed the distance between them and captured her in a hug. Kara, calm down. I have never lied to you except for my name. Remember, I could have told you a false backstory, but I didn't. I told you to wait, and I have never pitied you. The only people I pity are people that have died to unfair situations or people that can never do anything to provide for themselves. I have always been real with you and thought of you as close friend. Feel it. Do you see any lie? Do you want me to bring Raven here to check? Do you want to bring anyone else to confirm my words? I will allow it. Kara tried to struggle, but Naruto's physical strength was beyond large planet while she only had planet level of strength at the moment. His words and tone struck her soul and heart as Naruto connected with her using chakra. It made her think normally, and she realized that his words were the truth. She was letting her sense of betrayal cancel everything good about the relationship. Why did you hide your identity? You already know the answer, Kara. I could never sit with you in my real form, and we were not close in the beginning. We might still have become close friends, but I would have dragged you into pointless conflicts. Naruto replied while not sharing the main fact that he was not strong enough at that time and he was still cautious of everyone since he wasn't invincible. It was a fact that only Conan knew, and he didn't want it to spread at this moment. Once things settled down, then the world could see the real picture. Kara wanted to deny it, but she knew it was right. Interacting with Naruto in his armor would have been a completely different game, though she found the Emperor's side very nice as well. Why now? Are you here to make me submit to your rules? Kara asked with a harsh tone, though she had mostly calmed down and stopped struggling in his grip. She was having a hard time keeping her anger at him. I think we are ready to work together now, so I'm here to recruit you. This way, the distance between us would lessen and we can help each other out. I believe that you are extremely important to my cause, and I feel the need for your presence. You are a good friend, and I wish for that to continue. I will have more work to do from now on, so we won't be able to meet up like this every day. Naruto replied with a smile and a gentle tone while painting a picture in her mind. He was enticing her to accepting her importance in all manners and reminding her of their bond. Kara took in his words and understood his point. She knew all about Naruto's goals from his interviews and accepted those views. The Kryptonian society was close to what Naruto envisioned, though her society was also not without their flaws and criminals. Regardless, Naruto was making a world that she could appreciate. Did you get close to me for this? Kara asked pointedly with her eyes staring into those purplish eyes. Naruto expected such questions, so he avoided making relationships with that goal as the core. It would be extremely disrespectful to many people and counterproductive. No, my main goal has always been to help you. I believe that the only reward for good is good, so I reward good people and get close to them as they deserve my friendship. Though, it does depend on the person where our relationship ends up. Relationships have degrees of closeness, and I feel that we are a lot closer than most people. Is that enough? Or, are you really so ready to find an excuse to hit me and berate me? Naruto asked with a smile and pinched her cheeks. Kara felt the desire to punch him for that nose-at-all look. She really should have made the connection between both personas since they were very similar except certain points. I just want to put that smile away. And, I also don't want it to go away. Kara muttered as Naruto let her go and she hit his chest lightly with her fist. I doubt that can happen. I am a very positive person, and I am confident that I can convince you. It would be better for you to give in now, Kara. I can be very persistent. Naruto walked forward while Kara stepped backward slowly as she looked at his confident smirk. It was dripping with certainty. Are you coming on to me? Or, is this just a friendship thing? I thought you were an abstract being. Kara asked with a little smile as her anger and distrust had fallen away with those words. The words weren't just words, as they were his reality and belief. All of it was communicated from soul to soul, so Kara understood without any alterations because of her own perception. The real message was communicated directly. Though, she did question his very being now. Emperor had said he was an abstract being, a concept. He was the will of humanity, so it was kind of unknown where this was going. I am a being of flesh, just like you. The things I painted for the world were things that needed to be said, so people would act cautious around me. Though, I am the will of humanity and emperor of mankind. The title just isn't literal, as it is symbolic at the moment and can change soon. Just like the immortals of the different pantheons, I will represent humanity as a whole. Kara looked at him in a dull manner. Seriously, I think we need start from the beginning. I don't know anything about you. You know I am human, an immortal human with a good cause. Right, a good man with a very manipulative tongue. Agreed, so what is your decision? I agree, is that good enough? Kara shouted her answer as she pushed him away because they were too close. Her answer was obvious from her previous words, but he wanted her to say it. It is good enough. I am extremely delighted to have you on board, Kara. Please, take a seat and we will have a nice talk about each other. Though, I apologize that I can't share too much at this moment. You will just have to unravel the mystery of this emperor. Oh, you are just impossible. Kara couldn't help herself and pounced on him, but Naruto ended up teleporting and a chase started across the island. Leaving the meetings with friends, one of Naruto's clones visited the core of the planet where an alien tech lab was located and stuck in some spatial hole. He had been watching it for a month and it had made him very curious. The information received from the visitors had him intrigued and his desire to possess it was increased. The lab was owned by Shea Veritas and she was a neutral entity that helped the heroes when needed. However, she wasn't interested in being stuck inside the planet. It was an accident and she was still trying to find a way out. She was a student in Crucible Academy, an interplanetary academy. Shea created her own research facility known as the Block, located near the center of the Earth. Unfortunately, the entire facility was sucked in a maelstrom due to a dimensional portal experiment. Superman saved them, but the price was high. The whole staff ended up with Veritas genetic code, and the Block got permanently stuck near Earth's core. They couldn't vacate the premises owing to a time-space anomaly. Veritas helped the heroes while hoping they would extend courtesy and solve her problem, but they had yet to repay their debts. It was understandable since it was a delicate matter. Messing with the spatial problem could cause the core of the planet to explode. So, no hero would ever take such a risk. Someone like Dr. Fate could do it, but he wasn't informed about it and he was a busy man. With the issue unresolved, Shea Veritas along with her team were stuck in the core as they were also part of the spatial anomaly. Naruto had the solution in his hands, so he decided to make a visit and collect a powerful asset for his future endeavors. She was the person that could help him with genetic modifications. Without any hesitation, Naruto dived into the laboratory like the Martian Manhunter. Naruto had observed multiple people over the month and copied their abilities, so he could phase through everything. It was an ability that reminded him of Madara who could also phase through things, so it was a great addition to his skill set. Naruto didn't hide his presence and he appeared inside, where he walked casually towards his target. He took in the sights and analyzed the makeup of the structure. His sudden appearance had the base on full alert, informing everyone of the intruder. Seeing his appearance, they realized that they had been visited by the Emperor. The defense system did activate and try to harm him, but nothing worked. Lasers were ineffective, gravity control was ineffective, atomic erasure was ineffective and even teleportation was useless. They could not get rid of him and could only hope that they hadn't done any bad deeds in their lives. They hoped he came to reward them for their good deeds. Naruto didn't disturb the other staff and just walked directly towards Veritas. She was sitting in her office and watching some romantic drama to relax. She was an extremely intelligent and logical woman, but she still enjoyed the tomfoolery and such silly things. Watching Naruto walk to her office, Shea Veritas wasn't alarmed and greeted him cordially. "Good afternoon, Emperor. How can I be of assistance?" Veritas said as she stood up from her chair and extended her hand. Naruto smiled at her reaction and shook her hand. "Good afternoon, Miss Veritas. I apologize for my unexpected visit, but it is for an important task. I wish to offer you a new home and job." Naruto replied as he took out some chocolates, flowers and a painting. These gifts were to ease the meeting's atmosphere and show his good intentions. For Veritas, it was a first. All her visitors came to her lab without anything for her, unless asked directly. So, she appreciated the gesture even if the items weren't precious. I don't mind the visit and thank you for the gifts. However, what do you mean by those words? Can you clarify that vague statement? Veritas talked calmly while sitting down and indicating for her guest to take a seat. She also offered a cup of coffee along with some biscuits to Naruto. It is quite simple. I want you to work for me, as I see great value in your intelligence and capabilities. I require such talented people for my goals. Do not worry about your compensation. I am a great employer that can provide more than anyone else has to offer. Though, I believe you only desire freedom at the moment. Veritas had heard those words countless times, so she wasn't impressed by the buttering up tactic, though she felt the voice was extremely sweet and convincing. The last part of the statement caught her interest and she lost her composure. Are you serious? Can you ensure that freedom before asking for any work? Veritas asked in an agitated tone while standing up from her seat. She realized her blunder and calmed her nerves. She had been caged inside a lab for 5 years and it had gotten to her nerves. The only reason she hadn't gone insane was the fact that she was doing what she loved and she had many people around her. I have already set you free, Veritas. You are not on Earth anymore, as we are near the core of Jupiter. I already intended to save you and your people, regardless of our agreement. Naruto replied as he took a sip while his armor disappeared, turning into a gold and black bracelets on his arms. Veritas was not expecting such altruism from the Emperor. She could feel it in her soul that it was the truth and everyone else that was watching also felt it. All of them were charmed by the scene and saw him as their savior. Their eyes seemed to sparkle as they saw Naruto with a rosy vision. He was shining with roses in the background. He was the knight in black armor that came to their rescue. To Veritas it felt like one of those dramas, where the main character was given everything by the handsome and powerful male lead without any cost. She could even hear music playing if it was one of those dramas. Looking at Naruto without his armor, she couldn't deny that he was better than her dream knight and he had definitely swept her off her feet without even trying. It would have been perfect if he just confessed undying love and presented a beautiful ring. That would have been a perfect scene. I am ready to work under your authority, my lord. Can I know your intentions for my team? Veritas spoke while calming down as she confirmed his words. Weapons, armors, genetic modifications and such are things that I ask of you. However, let us take a walk and enjoy the first taste of freedom before we speak business. I believe the years have been harsh on your people, so it is better to go outside and relax. Naruto said as he stood up and walked closer while the world around changed. Everyone from the lab was transferred outside where they were greeted by a lake that was surrounded by mountains. There was greenery around them and though the scenery of the sky was vastly different from Earth, Veritas didn't deny his words as she looked at her team shouting with joy and running around crazily. Thank you for your kind offer and your timely rescue, my lord. I will not disappoint an employer that cares so much about our well-being. Veritas spoke happily as she took a big breath of fresh air. I have great expectations for you, Veritas, and I deeply respect your accomplishments. Don't think of it as just work. We are building a bond here and you will be like family to me. This is a hand of friendship, so you don't have to limit our conversation to work. I am always here to listen to my people. Naruto walked in front guiding her on the unknown planet. His words were truly appreciated and Veritas felt all her worries laid to rest. I will keep that in mind, my lord. However, I hope you will not regret this decision. I have some interesting hobbies. I know everything about you, Veritas. So, I will not regret it and I am looking forward to your interesting antics. Naruto chuckled as he walked. He had seen her memories and knew that she liked to watch romance dramas, listen to romantic songs and even dance in her lab. Obviously, her main hobby was messing around with genetics. Veritas smiled at his words and wondered what made her new boss tick. She liked knowing things, so her curiosity was piqued. Without further ado, Veritas walked beside Naruto and talked to him about casual topics. Other than Veritas, Naruto also went to the base of the science squad to recruit them to his team. The science squad was led by human scientists of exceptional talent that could create different species from genetic modifications and even high-tech robotics that could contend with alien tech. The science squad worked with the heroes and kept hidden from the government to avoid being used or experimented on. Naruto found their base under the Sahara Desert and saw that they could teleport from their houses to the base. The science squad was made up of the Powerpuff Girls and 2 scientists. The Powerpuff Girls, the girls were created by Professor Utonium. Initially only meant to be created out of sugar, spice, and everything nice, the professor accidentally added chemical X to the concoction after his then lab assistant, Jojo, later to become the evil villain Mojo Jojo, shoved him into a nearby bottle of the mysterious liquid, thus granting the ensuing girls with their superpowers. After some major events, the Powerpuff Girls dedicated their lives to fighting crime and the forces of evil in the city of New York, USA, and saving the world before bedtime. There were 3 girls at the start, but 3 other joined the group. One was the sister of the other scientist, called Dee Dee. She was genetically modified by her brother and equipped with mech armor to help her combat threats. Second was the wife of Utonium, called Ima. She used to be a villain called Sedusa that stole from the rich by seducing the men, but Utonium stole her heart, and she turned for the good. Sedusa had the ability to control her hair like Godiva, but after becoming part of the team, she was further modified to handle the hero life and follow the other 3 girls. The final member of the team was called Sarah Pizzini, who was an NYPD homicide detective. She used to be a normal person, but her life changed when she came into contact with a powerful ancient weapon known as the Witch Blade, which bestowed its wielder with impressive powers. She used to work alone but decided to follow the Powerpuff Girls and got her genetics modified, further enhancing her powers and allowing her to use more power from her ancient weapon. The Powerpuff Girls were a great team that kept New York safe from all threats and even fought against world-ending threats, but in Naruto's eyes they were secondary. To him, Professor Utonium and Professor Dexter were the best assets he could ask for. Professor Drake Utonium was the creator and father of the original Powerpuff Girls. He was known for his gentle ways and being much caring for his daughters. He was also an inventor and a scientist and had a huge merit of inventions in his backpack. His interactions with the girls often include what one would think of as common events in a household with 3 children, such as telling them to eat their broccoli. However, when they were on the field, he would show his greatness and command the power of robotics to help his daughters during combat. Utonium would use his inventions along with Dexter to provide support for the team from their base. They were the brains of the group and would analyze any problem on the go, letting the girls handle the fights. Dexter Riley was a boy genius who had a secret laboratory. His intelligence made him the brains of the family, and he was one of the world's greatest inventors, having created countless weird and amazing machines and experiments. He was always working on new inventions and creations every day, but his sister Dee Dee was always breaking into his lab and destroying his work. However, that was before things got serious in their life. Dexter was never really a hero and would only occasionally help the world, but all of it changed when his father died during Darkseid's invasion. From that day, he took the alien as his target and worked with a new fervor to get revenge while not allowing anyone else to feel the same pain. Dee Dee had also changed from that day and stopped fooling around, as she even went far enough to allow genetic modifications to her body. Naruto had collected the data on the team and even worked with them, though the scientists were extremely suspicious of outsiders. Only the 3 teenage girls were very friendly and seemed to like his different personas. To avoid any fight, Naruto decided to visit their homes. Both families lived in a single mansion in New York because they were extremely close and they didn't want Dexter's mom, Paulina, to get lonely. She was also part of the group but mainly took care of the house and was backup fighter of the group along with their pet super monkey, Albert. Naruto appeared without his armor with a gift bag and knocked the door of the mansion, skipping the security at the entrance of the main gate. His very presence was known by everyone inside and the mansion was on full alert. They identified him as Gilgamesh and Paulina welcomed him. It was his first time visiting the mansion and it was their first time seeing him without the armor. His purpose was unknown, but they weren't worried because the mansion was their home ground. "Good afternoon, Miss Paulina. You look charming as always. Please, accept this humble gift of mine. And, I apologize for my sudden visit. I just had to meet the family for an urgent matter." Naruto greeted Paulina as she opened the door. She looked very friendly and outgoing like always. She was in her 40s but didn't look a day older than 25. She was a beautiful woman with long red hair that attracted the gaze. Paulina wore a simple green dress, but it was far from simple since it could transform into her combat armor. No one in the science squad was unprepared for a battle and a surprise attack. Paulina found Naruto easy on the eyes and liked his mannerism. She had heard the girls talk about him and thought it was amusing that all 3 found the young man charming for different reasons. Looking at his expression and posture, it was quite apparent that he knew what he was doing. "Thank you for your kind gesture, young man. There is no problem with your visit, as the girls would be delighted to see you here." Paulina smiled as she led him inside and took him to the living room. It was a nice mansion that showed the touch of the science squad as there were robots moving around and holograms could be seen. It was the house of the future where everything was automatic, though Paulina liked to do things herself. "I am honored to occupy such a place in their hearts, And I look forward to meeting them in such a casual setting. Paulina could see why Blossom liked the young man. He was really well-mannered. He was most likely very intelligent as well, and his tactical skills couldn't be denied. The young girl named Blossom was the leader of the Powerpuff Girls, and she would have been charmed by Gilgamesh's leadership skills to handle such a rough group. The gifts he brought and the sweetness in his voice would have tickled Bubbles' interest. Though, there would be more that she hadn't seen. Bubbles was very friendly and emotional with interest in cute things, so getting her interest was something. Buttercup's interest was obvious. Gilgamesh was a powerful fighter and she loved fighting. She especially loved a brutal beatdown, and the young man was brutal in battle even more than Hulk. He was good to all of them, so Paulina was also curious about his choice. You will find that they are cuter outside of battle. Now, what would you like to have? Paulina asked as they sat down in the living room. Mango juice will do. Naruto looked at the hologram with the options and replied. Within moments his order was served while the three girls also flew into the room. Blossom flew to the room calmly while Buttercup and Bubbles showed their excitement, as they arrived first. Blossom was the leader of the Powerpuff Girls. She was the most mature and acted as if she were the oldest. She was best known for her intelligence and determination. She was the commander and leader. She was the bright but egocentric leader of the superhero trio. She can also be fussy, overbearing, vain and overly analytical at times. She tended to protect Bubbles and Buttercup, and often tried to play peacemaker between the two if they fight, but ironically, she was quick to argue with Buttercup, who acted on impulse as opposed to her analytical nature. She was naturally caring to mainly her sisters, but also the professor and others. Her favorite color was pink and her energy was the same color, even her eyes were pink. She long red hair and wore pink clothes. Buttercup was the toughest and goofiest of the Powerpuff Girls. She was best known for her aggressive demeanor, rebelliousness and dislike of girly things. She acted as the middle child in her sister's dynamic. She was the toughest fighter, she was the bravest, most headstrong of the superhero trio. She was the group's tough member and was easily enraged. Sometimes this, and her aggression, got the better of her, making her a little reckless and stubborn. However, she had enough control so as to not go overboard on innocent civilians like Bubbles could, no matter how trivial the offense. Her favorite color was green and red for blood of her enemies. Her energy was green and her eyes were the same. She liked close combat unlike her sisters. She had short black hair and wore green clothes that were mostly punk style. Bubbles was the cutest and most emotional of the Powerpuff Girls. She was often the least mature of her sisters. However, when angry she could be more furious and intense than even Buttercup. She was the joy and the laughter. She was the emotional glue of the superhero trio. She was the sugar ingredient of the three. She had blonde hair tied in twin tails style. Her power was blue, just like her eyes. Gilgamesh. Buttercup and Bubbles called out as they flew into the room. And guys, this is the end. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.